How can scanning technology change the future of the last mile? Keep watching to find out more. Hello, everybody. Today we've got a special bonus video, and I'm delighted to have Nazif Göymen, who is a strategic account manager with Scandit, and he's responsible for leading retailers and logistics providers throughout EMEA. Nazif, 10 years plus experience, and you've worked with major players like DHL, GLS, and Lufthansa. Welcome.
Thank you, Marek. Thank you for having me.
Most exciting and most important, we're going to be talking about technology and how technology is empowering the new last mile. And, we've already had a brief chat before, and some of the stuff that you've been involved with is really, really exciting. So, maybe I could kick off with the following topic. Sort of, what are some of the challenges and problems that frontline delivery workers face when scanning? And how is the latest technology addressing those issues?
Yeah, it's a very good question. So if we look at the, let's say, major challenges in the industry, which one of these are increased parcel volumes, new regulations, but also a high fluctuation. If you look at the employee side, those are, I would say, the top three challenges we currently see in that industry and with our customers. And how actually technology is helping is really in specific workflows, and this could vary from workflows where courier drivers start their day by loading their vans, right? This goes normally sequentially one by one, so we can improve that by doing multiple scans at once, right? But also leveraging augmented reality, so giving real-time data for the user to know, is this parcel for my delivery route or not, right? And also another example we see is in terms of new requirements and regulations. So companies in general need a partner, a technology partner, which can basically co-innovate with them and also adapt to those new requirements. And I can tell one or two examples later on.
Maybe there'll be four to give context for some of the people who are not so heavily involved. We have an issue, exactly as you said, Nazif, that it's getting more and more difficult to find the right people to retain them. When you have new people, you have to have processes and systems that are not only simple, but they're also foolproof. And then finally, to try to minimize the fluctuation in workforce, make the process user-friendly. So these sort of things are really, really important. I've been there myself and seen there's nothing more frustrating than having taken someone else's parcel, having it on your route, you then cannot deliver. The other person also will fail. So maybe, Nazif, if you've got some examples, this would be quite interesting because technology, I think, is becoming increasingly important in protecting against these sort of issues.
So maybe an example from one of the recent early POCs we have done with one of our key clients is really this workflow of sorting and then loading the van early in the morning, which can take up to 2 hours, right, per tour, per courier driver. And obviously, this is a process where the courier driver and also the company has an interest to reduce that time spent in that specific workflow, right? On the other side, they want to make sure that the parcels are allocated to the right vans. If they're not, if they're misrouted, this can obviously create errors and a lot of costs at the end of the day.
And on top of that, Nazif, I still remember from my Amazon days, if you fail to deliver successfully first time, the chance of a service failure grows dramatically, and it's not 100%. We're talking several 100% more likely you will then have a service failure. One other thing, because I think, what you said is very close to my heart. And, even if a process saves a few seconds on each movement, if you multiply those seconds potentially by tens of thousands of drivers and tens of millions of parcels, this becomes really a big deal.
That's correct. I mean, if we look, for example, at one of our customers, Swiss Post, right? They have roughly 200 million or even over 200 million parcels to be delivered and operated. So they are a happy customer of ours, not only with single barcode scanning, but they are really using it in the last mile with advanced capabilities. So using augmented reality to find the right parcel in time for each stop. So that saves time per stop. So the dwell time gets reduced. And of course, if you multiply it with the delivery numbers, and if you look at companies that size, it has a major impact.
So, the reality, and I've looked at this before, some of these solutions on paper don't always look, they say, well, this is expensive. Do we need to do it? But when you actually do the maths and you do the balance of what you get, both in terms of direct financial return, but indirect also in terms of quality of customer experience, retention of staff, the balance becomes a little bit different.
Exactly. And that's also our recommendation and our approach when we especially talk to new clients, right? Because our technology is a technology which can be tested very easily, right? So our first approach would be build a business case, see the ROI, right, on paper, but test it also in your facilities with your courier drivers, and then go from there.
Well, actually, this leads on to the next topic, which is, from your perspective, looking at clients you've spoken with and had projects with, what are the businesses that you see getting the most measurable gains from adding the latest, the most advanced scanning solutions?
So the businesses we see have a clear business need or high business need for being more flexible and adaptable. So one of the key customers we have is GLS Italy, for instance, right? And their main concern was really how can we keep up with the rising volumes we have and be flexible. And by introducing a smartphone-based model, they can now do it. So that was very handy for them, and also
I have to jump in there because when I have a smartphone, it sort of rings in my head BYOD. For those who are not initiated, bring your own device. And I just love the fact that some technology, and not all technology allows you to do this, allows you to actually use devices that somebody who's subcontracted may have. So you don't have to have a professional tool.
yeah. So from our perspective, we are agnostic. So for us, it really doesn't matter if a customer has smartphones or industry scanners, right? For us, as a computer vision expert and as a leader in smart data capture, it is only important that we have mobile devices with a camera. Obviously, if you look only from a cost perspective, BYOD is, I think, should be the first choice for companies, right? But then you have, let's say, discussions around how do we manage those devices. So it's not the first choice for every company, but many companies are really adopting this model.
Although I have to add one thing, Nazif, you may not know this, but I'm a big fan of PUDOs as well as lockers pick-up drop-off points. And very often the only alternative is BYOD. So if scanning technology can support devices that themselves maybe don't have the best cameras, the best technology, that's a really, really cool thing.
And that's also basically one of the differentiators we have. We support not only BYOD models, right? But I think we have proven it over the last couple of years, especially on Android devices. We have proven it on over 20,000 different models, even on low end and mid end devices, that our technology is really performing.
Tell me then one thing, because again, leading on from what we just discussed, what sort of decision-making improvements are you seeing on the ground thanks to the real-time data that we can get from accurate scan events?
Yeah. So if you think of the, let's say, the delivery process itself, the courier driver needs to have the latest information at his hands, right? And if, let's say, the delivery destination changes or customer changes last minute where this parcel needs to be delivered, this can be displayed with augmented reality, giving access to the user to real-time data in that sense.
I don't know if we're going to be able to get a picture of this, but one of the things that I love, and I've seen this at some of your events, that you can have a picture of several parcels, provided the label is visible. You don't have to spend minutes or even sometimes tens of minutes trying to find the
Yeah.
specific parcel. The augmented reality says, hey, this is the one, go get it. So I think that's really cool. We've talked about what's happening today. We've talked about some really great stuff, but let's think about tomorrow. Um, I can see AI becoming more and more relevant and important. Um, how can you see scanning developing? How can AI change the sort of the new last mile? What sort of things can you see happening?
Maybe first of all, AI or advanced machine learning algorithms are at the core of our components or technologies we provide to our customers. What we do, we build on that and improve our technology stack by one of the prototypes we are currently working on is improving this use case of looking for the right parcels at each stop, right? So we are currently building basically a digital twin of each van, yeah, and the courier driver at each stop gets a navigation hint on the phone or industry scanner on the screen where the parcel is located in his van, right? So again, that reduces again the dwell time and the stop time at each destination.
And makes the job, because just for those who are not so heavily involved, it's incredibly important, because if the job is easier for the driver, other than efficiency, it also means the driver, who quite often is paid based upon the stops that he or she makes, it makes it more efficient for them. Listen, this has been really, really amazing. We're at the point where we really need to end. Is there any last thought that you would like to share about, where you can see things developing in the future?
I think one last thought would be to call out to every company, be open, right? There's a lot of potential with the technologies and not always go the same route. Try something out new. As I've mentioned before, our technology is easy to test, prove the ROI, build a business case, and then take it from there.
So here you have it, everyone. Try new things, build a business case. You may be surprised. Nazif, I've really enjoyed this, and I'm looking forward, perhaps in a while, to have an update of how I love this digital twin idea, how these things are developing. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Marek.